Welcome, comrades, to the Social Justice Warrior News Channel, the place for all things equity, sponsored by the elite Paul and Nancy Pelosi Investment Foundation. Our studio is built on stolen indigenous people's lands. An important quote from Biden has been translated, and we'll start with this story. I'll read it to you so you don't have to play the rather long clip for you to understand the real context of what he didn't say. The quote begins, "Look, man, we can print all the money we need. We're not going to run out. Changes are not bad, as it's less than before. Inflation has gone down. I did that. It's good. Got it, pony soldier? Capitalism won't win. We will build it back better before until we are great again. The economy grew. The money situation couldn't be worse under George Trump. You know this. I'd take his economy out behind the building and that'd be Murder, She Wrote. A great show, by the way. I listened to it on the radio as a kid. Anyway, let them eat cake. Yellow cake. Yellow cake uranium. It's not as good as ice cream, but what are you going to do? You need to sacrifice for China. I mean Ukraine. Putin did this." End of quote. Repeat the line. There you have it, comrades. Everything will finally be okay. And now we take you to our next story of a Republican candidate for U.S. Senate for Washington State as she tries to defame Starbucks in the Seattle Times.
These doors are closed because it's too dangerous to ask employees to work here anymore. Think about that. For decades, Patty Murray has spearheaded reckless policies that lead to shortages, inflation, and so much crime that you can't even get a cup of coffee from the hometown shop on Capitol Hill, even if you could still afford it. 30 years in the Senate, and this is what she has to show for it? If she won't do the job, I will. I'm Tiffany Smiley, and I approve this message.
There you have it. Political defamation at its worst. Tiffany Smiley, a Republican candidate for U.S. Senate for Washington State, received cease and desist letters from both Starbucks and the Seattle Times for this politically charged ad, where she stands in front of a closed Starbucks and features headlines from the Seattle Times newspaper. Words are violence. She admitted the store closed because employees were too scared to work there, yet she stands out in front of the store, making the problem worse. The Federal Reserve announced a major pilot exercise for ESG social credit scores. ESG social credit scores are good for the environment. We need equity in banking and money. If the government had more control, they would take care of us. And now we head over to an important story about healthcare.
Block their puberty right away, we can prevent them from ever developing breasts, and that means they would have a better quality of life and they might not need to have top surgery in the future, right? The other major downside of these medications is that they're extremely expensive, and there are many challenges with insurance coverage that we could talk about this piece for days. But the good news is that things in general are getting better, and especially in the state of Pennsylvania, we have a really wonderful advocate at the state level, our physician general, the highest physician in the state, Dr. 𝓟𝓚𝓔𝓐𝓢𝓔, who is an adolescent medicine doc like me, and who is a transgender woman, and she has been doing amazing work to ensure that young people have coverage of these medications.
Rachel is so pretty. I have confidential sources close to Biden in the White House, and in addition to college loan forgiveness, Biden is working on a national healthcare reform bill to get everyone an additional 50% off their gender transition surgery. He was overheard saying this is possibly more important than Ukraine. And now we head to a story about genetically engineered mosquitoes. You may have recently heard the NIH is testing delivery of vaccines via mosquito. I don't know what to say about this one. It's about time the government started taking proper care of our vaccination status. We should listen to the science, though we need to hurry and ask him because he's retiring soon. I hope he goes on Dancing with the Stars. Anyway, we do have some footage of Dr. Fauci's excellent lab work with genetic mosquitoes. He is a true pioneer in medicine and science. It was amazing how fast he made the vaccine. Let's check out that footage now.
Oh, look at this. What's this? I don't know.
Oh. That's disgusting.
Make sure you check our website where we sell Fauci action figures. You can even buy it with or without the optional altar. And of course, it comes with a mask. A free mask. Now, on to our next story about these Oath Keepers on January 6th.
Trial of 5 members of the Oath Keepers, the far-right militia accused of plotting to attack the U.S. Capitol in the January 6 riots. In a blistering opening statement, prosecutors told the jurors the men planned an armed rebellion.
Can you believe those guys concocted a plan for armed rebellion and then they forgot to bring their guns when they went? It's a good thing the DOJ knows what's in their heads and is charging them with what could have happened that day. The FBI reportedly has 4,000 different angles of footage of this event from undercover agents on the scene that day. Proof positive that they were up to no good. If you have that much footage and all the mainstream media is talking about it, then that's all the proof you need. The public has no business going inside the Capitol. That sacred place is for our leaders and our leaders only. It's not like the doors were opened and they were invited in. AOC has PTSD, for heaven's sake. She almost died. And now our next story about Kanye West. Yeezy is still confused. He suffers from that funny thing the left created called Trump derangement syndrome. I'm sure he'll do the right thing when it comes time to vote. Imagine how rich he could be if Republicans weren't keeping him down. If he has any trouble figuring out who to vote for, then Yee isn't black. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Tired of the same old beef lattes? Chicken lattes worn out their clucking welcome? Introducing pumpkin spice cricket lattes, now exclusively at 𝓟𝓛𝓔𝓐𝓢𝓔. Now you can have meat-adjacent lattes with the same great meat flavor. Alternative lattes help you feel more confident when picking your gender for the day. You'll find it has never been easier to wake up and make up new fake pronouns. No more cows farting, ruining the air. No more PETA riots for drinking your regular meat coffee. Raise your social credit score while helping the environment. But wait, we've even done you one better. We now deny the Italian origin of lattes, and you no longer suffer the stigma of cultural appropriation while sitting with your Italian friends. That's right, we've put out the call to social media to cancel anyone that tries to interfere with the new latte origin story. This tasty treat proves democratic socialism works when done right. We also use low-calorie crickets that were left to starve in the hot sun. These crunchy treats are now lower calories, and the crunchy dried up legs are a better source of fiber. Available with your favorite soy milks, including a new flavor of fascist orange. Pumpkin spice cricket lattes. Be the first to get yours at your local 𝓟𝓛𝓔𝓐𝓢𝓔. Now go and save the environment and fight evil capitalism, comrade. On sale for $3.99 in select markets. Check out our great selection of books at Libtard Press Publishing. We now have the latest and greatest selections, including Know All Your Genders, the complete 28-volume set. This book set is everything you need to bring your gender expression in line with Twitter, culture, and mainstream media. It is important to be knowledgeable and accepted. Can you name all the genders off the top of your head? I didn't think so. Get right with your identity. Buy from Libtard Press Publishing today. Gas prices are set to hike due to OPEC. I think Biden should send troops over there, perhaps to Saudi Arabia. We should be protecting oil fields worldwide from unchecked dangerous capitalism. That's true climate justice. Also, if you can't afford gas, then buy an electric car. If you can't afford your heat bill for the home this winter, then buy some warm blankets or move to California. California, the climate is always nice, all because of our great policies. It really is that simple. And next we look at a story of needles in Portland.
I just wanted to give everybody a little example in Portland, Oregon. How much used rigs we clean up off the streets. Each one of these is probably 100 pounds. Used rigs only. Used rigs. That whole bag, used rigs. Isn't that incredible? Yeah, you're welcome. God bless you.
It seems the Portland area needs a fresh influx of needles to be purchased by the federal government. The whistleblower reporting this problem was promptly fired, probably because he said God bless in the video. Definitely needed to be fired for forcing his religion on people. But the important thing to remember is that only a handout of drug pipes has occurred so far. Yes, the government is showing favoritism by handing out pipes, but not needles. Apparently they have a bias against needle users. Needles are used for life-saving drugs. Quit oppressing drug users. How are they supposed to afford this with these gas prices so high? If we don't rely on fossil fuels much, instead invested in needles, America would be further along. Let's be honest, CO2 is worse than a few needles on the ground that likely came from insulin users anyway. They're easy to step over. There are poop markers to give you a heads up when you're approaching needles. Conservatives tend to blow this out of proportion as always. These people are not hurting anyone, and all Republicans care about is trying to steal our Democrat voter base. Next in the news, UC Berkeley has created Jew-free zones. I was going to comment on the inclusion zones, but realized I'm white. I have no place in this conversation. The untold part of the story is that UC Berkeley Law School is looking for heavy donations after the realization that they must build hundreds of thousands of new community rooms for when they start dividing Jews from black Jews and even straight Jews from gay Jews and gay black Jews from transgender Jews and identify as white, gay, oppressed, where was I? So basically the math on just LGBTQIP2SAALMNOP plus FJB rights, it gets very large. The key here is that there's a lot of work to do in the name of diversity. We should show them support. Write to your Congress members and maybe they can send some taxpayer support to help our fellow comrades. And next we look at a power grid issue in Bangladesh. This power grid collapse has left a lot of Bangladeshiites unable to charge their electric vehicles. Climate change strikes again. California Governor Newsom is being sent to help due to his expertise, but reports say it shouldn't take him longer than a few minutes to fix the problem on the phone. He is expected to pass legislation in California, making it illegal for future power grid collapses, and no blackout zone signs will be erected all around the affected areas to also deter future power grid issues. Californians' taxes are not expected to rise much because of this effort. More on the FBI raid of the Catholic pro-life speaker that was protesting outside of an abortion clinic. Back in the news after a successful FBI raid involving 30 FBI agents. This dangerous man was apprehended and faces 11 years in prison. The local and state courts refused charges for his shoving an abortion worker. Luckily, the feds didn't fail to prosecute this heinous crime. The victim was shoved. Did anyone even consider to see if the man shoved was pregnant? Mark Houck could have hurt that baby. It's actions like this that endanger babies, and more laws and signpostings are needed to keep reproductive health care facilities as safe spaces. NYU fires a very difficult professor. This is a sign that colleges need class equity. Everyone should get an A, or don't rate people at all. Ratings are racist and a construct of capitalism that forces students to spend all their time worrying about grades while the pandemic rages on. Math is a part of chemistry, and it's racist. In our last story, anonymous sources tell me that Elon Musk definitely did this. He's trying to act like Republicans are being targeted on Twitter. It is a misdirect ahead of his coming purchase of Twitter. Elon wants to pretend like bots and shadow banning are a thing. Twitter is just as secure as our elections. That's it for the news so far. I'm sure more news will come out tomorrow. Tune in next time when we interview Hunter Biden on the best carpet cheeses to smoke with crack. I'll leave you with words of wisdom from President Kamala Harris before we turn you over to Karen on Twitter for the really important news. Good evening, comrades.
Which is why we will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work operating from the new norms, rules, and agreements that we will convene to work together on to galvanize global action. With that, I thank you all. This is a matter of urgent priority for all of us, and I know we will work on this together.